Hi there, welcome to our brand new channel. We're making a first-person merchant sim with survival elements. We've been working on this game now for roughly a week, and the first week went something like this. We started day one here with absolutely nothing and an empty Unity project, and by the end of the week we had all of this. We had a variety of core features already nailed down, such as resource gathering, picking up items, inventory, and placing down crafting stations, grills, and things like that. Throughout the first few days we were testing how feasible our overall plan is. This consisted of making basic ship movement, including an interactable engine that will start and stop the ship. Alongside this we worked on the early stages of material gathering and tool usage. This also involved me making my own rig for the first time, which happened to be quite difficult as I had no experience with making a first person rig before. Aside from these features, we also added some elements of juice in certain areas, such as arm animations and visual effects when hitting things like trees. And finally, as seen already, early development of how islands would look like. However, bear in mind these are very work in progress and are bound to change in the future. By this point it was the end of day one and we had a solid base to work with. The next couple of days consisted of refining what we currently had, especially the inventory system. This involved a drag and drop in items, item types such as tools, resources, consumables and structures, as well as drop in and picking up items, and finally a highlight when facing the items. With all these improvements made, we can now actually properly implement the tree chopping. Now once you cut a tree down, you get this visual effect of leaves falling up and some dust alongside these new resource item types, which you can pick up and they will stack in your inventory. You can also drop that same stack, pick it back up and the stack will remain the same. After some bug fixing, we decided to implement something fun, so now we have a dynamic day and night system. We have a lot of future plans to make the day-night system impact the players, and also add weather systems that will impact their navigation using the ship, such as storms, fog effects and more. Oh, alongside all this, I created a bunch of placeholder assets for the meantime. By this point you should have noticed, or at least I hope you should have noticed, that we have numerous items, and then when you highlight over them you will see that the name is displayed, and small features like this have been implemented throughout these few days. We also have tooltips for items with a short description and a name. Alongside this, since we're a team of two, while the program is being done, I'm creating more and more items such as rope, meat and things like that. And stuff that's in the background is like input managers, audio managers, game data managers, all that boring programmer stuff which I have no idea what it means or what it does. And by this point we're roughly at mid through the week. By this point I've started trying to nail down an art style we want to go with for this game by starting on some items. I'm a huge fan of stylized games and have some art experience, so I intend to take that route. While we are using some asset packs, I also intend to make as many adjustments as possible to make the game as cohesive as I can. Additionally, I've made a more finalized version of the ship alongside its textures. To offer more player freedom, we intend to allow players to customize their ship quite a lot. I had this in mind when texturing so that we can easily adjust the colors in engine and allow players to do the same. They can customize the color of the hull, balloon, and they will eventually be able to upgrade the ship and add new attachments. But while I've been toying around with art stuff, we now have a more in-depth ship system, which includes adjustable speed which we can allow players to adjust based on their engine level, alongside the ship having its own saved inventory which involves any structures you place on it. Oh, and the fan spins, that's cool too. Heading back to the islands, I created 2 more islands as well as a third one which will be a town. However, it's extremely early stages for that one. While making these islands, I kept in mind how they worked in the game Raft, as that is a huge inspiration for this game, including the way these islands will spawn eventually. We intend to allow the player to freely navigate the sky and eventually stumble across these islands where they can restock on supplies and even discover new recipes and items. One issue I had while playing Raft was that after a stage in the game you realise that you run into the same 5 or 6 islands, which makes the game quite repetitive. To avoid falling into the same trap, I intend to make a huge variety of islands, each with their own purpose. For example, some islands may be linked to the story, others are purely for resources, and some could offer new things to players. Eventually, with time, these islands will be much more populated with resources and other reasons for players to get excited for them. Here are the islands made so far. As mentioned before, very early stages, and I have a lot more planned for them. And the final island so far is the town. This place will be very significant to the player in terms of the story and other smaller aspects. An example would be there will be a shipyard in this place which players can utilize to customize their ship. And finally, jumping over to the technical side of things again, to end off the week we obviously continued polishing the existing systems and fixing bugs, and we will continue doing that the following week. However, alongside this we started on the functionality of the structure items, which are essentially objects you can place down. We currently have a crafting table which is placeholder alongside a grill which is a placeholder texture. Players will only be able to place structures down on their ship and will most likely have a max capacity. We also started some initial crafting. Most of the feature is almost complete, however it needs UI integration at this current moment. That pretty much concludes our first week of production on this project. Any feedback is appreciated in regards to the project, including the videos, in terms of pacing, whether they should be faster, slower, or anything like that. With that being said, subscribing is very appreciated, and I'll catch you in the next one.